welcome to the channel. Today we're going to begin the Beast class build. And I apologize right off the bat. It's going to be a short one because my hard drive crashed and I spent most of my day today trying to fix that. So we're going to start with the ESCs. We're going to coat them with this stuff. This is called conformal coating for those of you that don't know. And this is a 55 milliliter bottle of it. If you can buy a smaller bottle, go ahead and do that because this is a huge amount. This thing's, as you can see, I mean, if it doesn't dry out, it's probably a lifetime supply. These ESCs are the ProShot F3X 120. That 120 is 120 amps. These are no joke. So we want to coat these with this conformal coating so that if any water gets on any of these components, you're not going to fry your electronics. Catalyst Machine Works has posted a video where they just land in some dew and smoke one of these things. So as you can see, there is some coating on here from the factory, but we're gonna hit it again. I'm gonna do this on a piece of plywood. Just gonna take this and go ahead and coat the entire thing. This stuff stinks, by the way. What we want to do is coat the entire thing. And I'm sure the label on this stuff says, you know, well ventilated area and all that happy stuff, but it's going to be pretty loud if I open the door. And the trick with this, to find out if you have completely coated this, besides utilizing the light where you can kind of see it shimmering, is you can use a black light or UV light, and that will make this kind of glow a greenish color. So you can tell just where you've coated it. So that is the first side of the first one. I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm going to do all the tops and then flip it over and do all the bottoms. And you can just use a generous coating on these things. This will burn off when we're soldering. And at which point, once I'm done soldering, I will recoat the bits that have burned off. But I just want to make sure I get everything coated very well on this first pass, because most of this is not going to be touched again. And the major reason we want to coat these and make sure we put a thorough coating on them is to burn these out is quite costly. These things are, I want to say they're about $100 a piece retail. Just about dried. We're gonna coat this backside. As you can see, this backside coat's a lot easier. This parts are smaller, and there's not as many big spaces. As this dries, it gets pretty tacky. You can actually see it's starting to tack up a little bit right there. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the back side of this is fairly difficult to see where you have coated, so you kind of want to be methodical in how you're placing this and just kind of remember where you have coated it rather than physically being able to see the coating. It also helps if you got a very thick coating on it, as it kind of puffs up and allows you to see it a little bit better. And that is all for coated. So the frame that we're going to be building is the Catalyst Machine Works Tasmanian. What this is an X-Class with 4-inch shorter arms. And we are going to install the PDB. Now the suggestion I make is it comes with a couple of hardware bags like this. So get yourself a plate or a bowl or something to that nature to dump all this in. It is no fun dumping half of it in your hand and rummaging through trying to find the parts that you need. In this kit, Catalyst supplies us with 20mm nylon M3 cap head screws. I have, these are 8mm metal M3 cap head screws. The only reason I'm going the metal is because that's what I have. I have a kit. I do highly suggest you run nylon. The metal might pose problems. Next, we want four 8mm screws, M3, and then we want the supplied nylon standoffs. These are also M3. What we're going to do is figure out which end of the frame we want, front or back, left or right, doesn't matter. This elongated U, this is the sides, and then these U-shaped, the tighter U, is the front or the back. There is no real front or back. This is all cut the same if you look at all these holes. What we're interested in right now is these holes in the center here. These are your 30mm holes. So what we're going to do is take one of our screws, push it through the back, and then grab a nylon standoff and just pop it right on top. Repeat this process for all four. That's all set there, and then we're going to tighten these down. These particular screws use a 2mm hex, and I'm just going to hold it with a pair of pliers. And we're just applying light pressure just to tighten these down. Because we're threading into nylon, this will strip fairly easy, so don't crank it down. Just as soon as it tenses up, let off. And that is ready to accept the PDB. For the PDB, I'm going to be installing the Maytech. This is the FCH UB12. Catalyst Machine Works suggests that we use the APD, which is a better PDB, but I happen to like some of the functions that this one actually has on it that the APD one does not. This one actually has a half voltage right here. It's got a half voltage pad, so we can actually figure out what our batteries are at. The APD one, you're running VBAT, and that will smoke your flight controller. So there's a few benefits to running this one. It's also 1/3 the price. The major problem with this PDB over the APD is that this one only runs a 70 amp maximum current, whereas the APD runs 100 max current. So big difference. With this, we're just going to want to figure out where we want to run the battery leads off of, and there's no front or back. So I am going to run the battery leads off the back. Then supplied in the Maytech FC722 STD is what I personally consider the best rubber mounted standoffs available. These guys, they are a brass coated with rubber, and we're going to go ahead and cinch down this PDB. These are fine, just finger tight. Actually, I don't even think, yeah, these are brass. So there's a brass piece inside of there, and then it's split from this screw. This is a normal screw that's kind of melted in there, and these two are separate pieces. It does a very good job of isolating the flight controller from any vibrations created from the craft. So the issue I run into when installing these is they don't fit flush. As you can see, there's like a 1mm gap, and I know I can easily put a spacer in there, but let's not make this thing super high. So what I'm going to do is I've gone ahead and put a nut on top of here. I'm going to cut these down just 1mm, so pretty much right at the top of this nut. And I'm going to take my, these are, I believe, Nipex. These might even be Hacko. I'm just going to nip the top of this off. Just like that. And the reason I put this nut on here, so that when I back this off, the nut actually cleans the threads. And with that, I can actually take this guy now and run this down flush straight to the board like that. And now I've got no fluctuations. So I'm going to repeat that for the entirety of the 4. Once again, run it down tight. Take our nippers, flush against the bolt, and then back the bolt off, and that cleans the threads. So now when we put our next part on, this guy screws right on, no problem. And there's the PDB installed with provisions for the flight controller. So I apologize today was so short. My computer hard drive had failed, so I spent most of my day trying to fix that. That is rectified, so it is what it is, but that just ate up all my filming time today. Anyways, so that is how to conformal coat your ESCs and a little bit as to why, and that is also how to properly install the PDB onto the base plate. There will be a lot of these videos out. I apologize for having to break them up in advance, but it's just how it goes. I'm taking my time with this build to make sure I get it right. We're messing around with, I believe, 51 volts, 51 volts, and lots of amps. So I don't want to screw this up. I mean, already I'm kind of cutting corners by using a metal screw in the place of a nylon screw. But I really feel like it's going to be okay because it's surrounded by the standoffs. So I'm going to go with that. So if you enjoyed this video, click that thumbs up button. If you think I'm crazy or are going to follow along, leave me a comment below. And if you haven't done it already, like 90% of you haven't, just go ahead and punch that subscribe button because you only get to do it once and it's fun. And I'll catch you later. Peace. So I want to let you guys know that no, I don't. No, I don't. Because nope, I don't. Nope, I don't. Nope, I gotta film some B-roll, and that's that. Damn, yo.